You're listening to Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast. Comics, television, movies, and more. If it impacts fan culture, we have something to say about it. And now, your hosts, Jordan, Cliff, and Seth.
Hello to all of you out there. My name is Jordan Lowe.
Cliff Barnes. I'm Seth.
And you're listening to Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast.
Guy out front should have told you.
Yeah.
This is going to be a regular episode. We're grasping at straws here, trying to find an intro. Anybody go to trivia? I'll throw that out there.
Oh,
what happened to trivia this week?
Yeah,
I didn't go.
Still
no
waiting,
medals yet.
Still waiting on those medals.
Yes.
They haven't engraved our names for the legacy.
The plaque or whatever. Did they have the plaque up with our picture there yet?
I didn't see it.
Well, I mean, is there other years with pictures of people?
It doesn't matter.
They did a tournament last year, but I've not seen.
It's at home.
Yeah.
They do it underneath the plaque. That's the and more. There, you wanted an intro.
Why do you want it to win so bad? I'm not sure.
So did you guys go yesterday or not?
Yeah.
You went?
Couple days. Yeah.
Jared went?
Did we get, second place?
Yes, second.
Yeah.
Tiny pizza.
Yeah, medium or small.
Did everyone
We're chasing the glory of the large.
Yeah, you can't win a large anymore, right?
Is first place even a medium?
Yeah,
Are they skimping on us?
First place is a medium. We used to win larges, but
I take it personally. I feel like they change rules.
right,
just willy-nilly?
It's how like the Major League Baseball had to raise the mound because the hitters were too good. They had to move the fences back because they're hitting too many home runs. Like they're like, we got to shrink these pizzas. We're giving away too many pies.
So do you all walk it? Do you wait and all walk in at once to thunderous applause? And
we like to sneak in separately.
That's not as fun. So okay, what are we doing this week?
Comics.
Dazzling everyone with our wit. Can't you tell? Did you say comic?
How can you read this? There's no pictures.
Well, some people use their imagination.
Well, I must hurry back to my comic book store where I dispense the insults rather than absorb them.
Happens all the time. Read a comic book, okay?
Now look, if there's a moment of silence, I'm going to hit the button.
I knew you were going to hit the button. He's off.
I can't see the laptop blocks your hand. I can't see you reaching for that mouse.
I need hand signals.
Right. Hey, comic books. You guys like those, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Finally, oil machine we are. Well, you're in luck then, because I found some news about comic books.
Where?
Just today. Have you heard of Undiscovered Country from Image Comics?
Nope.
Well, it hasn't even come out yet. It's out, due out November 6th. Well, they just sold the film rights today for over $1 million before the first issue is out.
Who's writing that?
It is co-written by Scott Snyder and Charles Soule, with art by Giuseppe Camuncoli, and New Republic Pictures just as an undisclosed sum, but it's at least 7 figures, with plans for a potential franchise, because every movie is a franchise now. The basic plot is America has literally walled itself off from the rest of the world, and it's been like 30 years. No one comes in, no one goes out, nobody knows what's going on inside. And there's a team, so some kind of global pandemic has happened, and a team breaches the border for the first time in decades. And they have to try and survive whatever America has become as we've taken isolationism to the nth degree. So it's a cool concept. It's Image's biggest launch in a while with big marquee names, and Hollywood seems to agree.
Right.
We also had an announcement today. The Dark Knight Returns, The Golden Child.
Yeah, I did see something about this.
Coming out in December. Frank Miller, it's set about 3 years after Dark Knight 3. Frank Miller is writing it, but he's not drawing it. The artist is Raphael Grampa. who is a Brazilian artist. He's worked on a couple things. He has not had a big, like, successful run on a comic book. He's done a ton of covers. He's done a lot of short stories. His art is very cool. It has kind of a Frank Quitely vibe to it. It's kind of a little bit abstract. A little, the anatomy and stuff's kind of crazy looking, but it's very dynamic art style. But Frank Miller's quote trying to describe it was amazing. Quote, it's about Jonathan Kent, who was the son of Superman and Wonder Woman.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So he was a baby in the last series. Wonder Woman carried around a little Amazonian papoose kind of thing.
Yeah.
So now he's a little bit older, it's about 3 years later, and he has, quote, all the wisdom and intelligence of the Kryptonian race. He really sort of developed as a little floating Buddha, someone who, when he wasn't even a toddler yet, was speaking in full sentences and had an understanding of events that surpassed anybody else's. He's the most magical member of the family.
Okay.
So I want a little super Buddha.
Super Buddha.
I'm in. Speaking of the Batman, have you heard the rumors we're getting a new Batman?
What?
In 2020.
Yeah. Is this the Black Batman?
We're getting a black Batman.
Wow.
Go on.
There's not much out. It's just kind of rumors at this point. But I think Bleeding Cool kind of broke. It's just people have been talking, at the bars after cons, and this has kind of gotten out. It's not Bruce, because people are like, we're changing Bruce Wayne's race. Like, no, obviously not. But someone else is donning the cowl. The first assumption was this newer character, Duke Thomas, who is the Signal character, the guy in the yellow suit. But the rumor, the Bleeding Cool rumor is like, no, it's not him. So the money is on Luke Fox, who is Lucius Fox's son, and he is currently Batwing for the Batman International, coalition of Batman from other countries and things. So that
makes sense.
That's what people are betting on.
I bet Mahershala Ali is like, oh.
If I just held out a little longer.
Yeah.
Maybe all the speculators are scooping up all those early Batwing appearances, thinking this is a big deal. And of course, it was met with, people were pretty even-keeled about it and took a wait-and-see approach. Right.
I'm sure they were all cool with it.
Oh, yeah, that's what always happens.
I mean, I didn't check the internet, but I assume that...
Right. Which, again, how many times has Batman been replaced?
Right.
By...
That sounds cool for a couple of years. And then it'll be exciting when Bruce Wayne comes back, whatever. It can be... Both things can be cool.
Speaking of awkward racial overtones... DC recalled 2 books very recently. They were on my invoice. I never ended up getting them, but they were ready to ship. Superman number 14 and Supergirl number 33 when they issued a recall. And the reason was that it had they're currently in the Year of the Villain storyline run through all the DC books. And it said it had the Year of the Villain banner on the cover, but that didn't reflect the story. So we had to recall these. And the more cynical among folks were like, half these books have barely anything to do with the Year of the Villain. It's just, if Lex Luthor pops up for a panel on the last page, it's Year of the Villain tie-in. So that seems awfully expensive, scrapping a whole print run of books just for a cover blurb. But these are the issues the Legion of Superheroes were supposed to return.
Right.
And again, there were stories coming out online of DC going after eBay accounts for some retailers had gotten them who shipped a little earlier. DC was trying to stop eBay sales because they said destroy them, get rid of them. I saw somewhere they said the postal workers were ripping open boxes and looking for copies in people's
what?
So it's people are like, what is going on? And again, mostly led by Bleeding Cool. I do look at other websites, but this is the one that usually has all the gossip and rumors and stuff. But they had put out a few, teasers and promo images of the Legion, and they had changed the race of a couple characters. Because when the Legion came out, these are the characters from the year 3000.
Right.
It's the future, and they were all white. So over the years, they've tried to be more inclusive and add diversity to it. And they've changed a few of the characters around for this even more modern take on it. Well, apparently, images people had online and some of these early sneak peeks, this character had his race changed, but in the books that came out, they hadn't changed it.
Oh,
so
okay.
One was dark, but he wasn't dark enough, and one was too dark. So that's people are freaking out. Like, well, we don't even know who's black in the Legion. Somebody's black, but we don't know who. They're changing them back and forth. So nobody really knows what happened. There were debates whether it was like the senior editorial making last minute changes, and then like the Superman group editorial, like lower down, said we're not changing it. So there it was internal debates or internal politics or whatever. But after Bleeding Cool broke this story, it did 15 clickbait articles about it and frothed everybody up. Apparently the book came out, the reprint of it, and nothing had changed. They left whatever character just kind of tan, whatever. So I think DC got gun shy, like they knew they got busted of, if we make this character black or change this. So they scrapped 2 entire print runs of a book and then literally only changed the banner on the cover or gave it a new cover. So they got a lot of good articles about it and comments online. Which actually that helps prove my next story. The Russian Minister of Culture thinks comic book readers are morons.
Wow.
The 32nd Moscow International Book Fair just happened. I don't know if you guys were checking
how did
that
I
out
miss
or not.
that? Yeah.
The Russian Minister of Culture, Vladimir Medinsky, was quoted as saying, "Comics, this is for those who can read poorly. I have a very bad attitude to comics. Comics are like chewing gum, as you say. This is not food. Comics, this orientation should be for a child who is only learning to read, up to 7, 8 years. But an adult to read comics is to admit that I'm a moron. I read comics. It's probably possible to collect them. It's fun, but not read."
Wow.
So,
let's bomb them.
Yeah, Minister of Culture. I'm not quite sure what that job description is, but
That's probably why John Bolton got fired.
Wow, what a he sounds. What's funny is he doesn't sound understand how ignorant he sounds. He's like, wow.
But yeah, there was some other quote he had at that same event saying, like, novels are the only true. Like, you shouldn't watch TV. Anyone who reads novels are better than people who watch TV. Yeah. Like, basically saying they're art gatekeeping what art is. Exactly, basically. Yes.
He is the minister
of culture.
The whole thing.
Whatever the hell that is.
Vladimir Medinsky.
Let's get it.
You're on my list. You and Bill Maher. We never did talk about that. Bill Maher slandering Stan Lee. Yeah, it's not worth our time. There's another international incident, and this one actually, that Russian thing, no one cared, just comic nerds. But this actually made international news in Rio de Janeiro. The mayor of Rio in Brazil had censored a Young Avengers comic from 2010.
I like how you said it's in Brazil, because now you think we're morons.
I know you read comics, right. So I had to.
So rude.
Let's play.
That's how it's going to be now.
There was another one of these deals, 19th International Book Biennial of Rio de Janeiro, and the mayor Marcelo Crivella posted a video message to Twitter, and this guy is very anti-LGBTQ and has a history of writing articles and things demonizing folks, and he patently pointed out a Young Avengers comic, the Children's Crusade, and he ordered the organizers of this event to stop selling it and to collect all copies of the book because it had content that was unsuitable for minors. So this was the 2010 series by Alan Heinberg and Jim Chung. It featured the Wiccan and Hulkling is a male couple, and this was the first time they kissed. So this was an important enough event. It was just on the collage cover of Marvel Comics 1000. They did a whole bunch of variants, and one of the variants was this giant collage of Marvel history, and it was key moments from throughout 80 years of Marvel history, and this was included on it as it was a defining moment. So his quote was, "We need to protect our children. Therefore, we have determined that the organizers collect the books with content unsuitable for minors. It is not correct that they have early access to matters that do not conform to their ages." The organizers refused to remove it. They said everyone's welcome and represented. So the government sent 15 officials from the Municipal Secretariat of Public Order, 15 armed men, to scour the festival looking for inappropriate content and to seal it inside plastic bags with unsuitable for minors content warnings,
also,
or
they're
confiscated.
They're, bagging and boarding them.
Yeah, he's just worried about your resale value, really. So the organizers filed a legal motion to block this, but the courts backed the mayor. And that emboldened him, and he went after every book, anything with gay content. He said should be considered pornography and should be bagged up and gotten rid of.
Well, obviously, he's a moron because he reads comics.
So a Brazilian YouTuber named Felipe Neto has 34 million followers. He went and bought the entire stock of LGBTQ books at the festival. He bought 14,000 books.
Nice.
He distributed them for free in black plastic bags and labeled it, "This book is inappropriate for backward and prejudiced people," end quote. And he gave them all away within minutes, and then the officials arrived, and so everything was already gone.
Nice.
So again, this, if you know the term, the Streisand effect.
I do not.
Have you guys know this term? I've heard this bandied around, but I didn't know what it came from. Apparently, about a decade ago, some photographer took pictures of the California coastline and had them on this website archive.
Okay.
And one of them was Barbra Streisand's house. And she didn't like her house being online, so she filed a lawsuit and sued the guy, did a legal petition. And before all this, it had been downloaded and viewed 6 times.
Right.
And it said twice were her lawyers looking at the photo.
Right.
After this hit the fan, it got downloaded hundreds of thousands of times. So that is now the thing for calling attention to something you don't like.
Yeah.
Adds fuel to the fire. And people I have to see what this is. So the book sold out within an hour of the initial announcement. Demonstrators marched through the event. There were rainbow flags everywhere. People held kiss-ins, sitting in public displays of affection to show we're not afraid. The most read newspaper in Brazil posted the artwork, the Jim Chung, Wiccan, and Hulkling artwork on the front page above the fold in a giant color photo.
Wow, that's awesome. This guy should talk more often.
So yeah, it made CNN. It made it made the rounds all around the world, and all the LGBTQ blogs and
How do we take advantage of that?
We gotta do something controversial.
We need to find we need to find somebody that gets offended by something we've said or
what can we ban? We need to ban.
Yeah. We'll be on CNN.
We'll think on that.
Well, you guys been reading anything?
Yes. You promised we were going to talk about Spider-Man's life story when it was over. So start at the beginning of his life story.
In 1962, Peter Parker was bitten by a radioactive spider.
And then what happened?
And then this main series followed him for 60 years in real time and aged him. So when the book started, he was 15 years old, and by the time it ended, he was an old man, losing his step, gray hair, and grandkids.
Chip Zdarsky and Mark Bagley. So I'm sure you read the last issue. There was 6 issues.
Yeah.
What'd you think of it?
I liked it a lot.
I cried.
Yeah, all right.
There was a couple moments at the end, 2, they got me twice. I was already I started out reading it because it was we're going to spoil it. So you should read this. It's good. But he's he's old now. How old would he be in that last decade?
Was it set
70s?
Was it set in 2019 or?
Yeah,
I don't remember if it was set in the near future.
Yeah, it was in the teens. Yeah. But anyway, he's old, and he and Miles Morales go to space to do something. Stop some terrible thing, and that is not important. But but I just loved it. Anyway, I was reading the beginning of it. And I was like, yeah, it's what's going on. I always kind of forget the premise of this, and so when they do the Doc Ock thing, I'm like, oh, that was, I forgot,
because it touches on the Clone Saga,
whatever storylines were going on in that decade. They fold into this. So
the 2010s were Superior Spider-Man and Doc Ock stealing his mind and all that stuff.
And they were trying to, well, this issue started out with him remembering letting the guy get away that killed Uncle Ben. And so then towards the end, when when he says, "You're my jackpot," or whatever to Mary Jane, and then everything blows up. I was like, that was so good. And then there was still another button on it at the end of him remembering how it all started, and I was like, this is so good. I was just totally caught up, and I was like, I listened to iFanboy talk about it, and they had a good point that everybody has liked it, but as much as I like Bagley, I don't know that he was the right guy for the job for this, or he could have done a certain era. That's
why I thought it might have worked to have a
era specific artist. Do it in the style of the art that was of that time. That I almost wish I really hadn't heard them say it, because that makes me want that. If they had done that. I still loved the whole series. I loved the story and just the ridiculousness of it, that they doubled down on whatever path they were going to take. It did, it wasn't generic
and wasn't just a nostalgia trip. Hey, remember the Clone Saga?
Right.
It did some interesting things. I didn't see that coming. Because it could do whatever it wants. It could kill people off. It could whatever. Because there's no continuity to it. But it took some clever turns with very familiar stories.
So check out Spider-Man : Life Story. It was good. He's in his 70s, it says in the last issue.
A few other things that have come out recently. Oh, you picked up Superman Year One, didn't you? This is Frank Miller writing, John Romita Sr. art.
I think the art is gorgeous. The color is the big thing to me. It's so colorful, and the bigger pages probably adds a lot to that.
This is kind of an oversized 3-issue series.
I like that magazine size. It kind of makes me wonder how much more. Well, I do like getting an omnibus of certain things. It does really make things look better the larger size. But I enjoyed this second issue for the most part. I thought it kind of lost its way towards the back half with the undersea stuff got a little crazy, but.
Well, again, I don't know how well you know Superman's backstory, and if you know Lori Lamaris or the Silver Age, he had a mermaid girlfriend.
Right. I mean, I assumed that was based.
So, if you're a Superman fan, you're you'd be like, yes, they're bringing back this goofy history. But it didn't do much for me.
That, but there was a part where it drugged there, he's fighting.
Yeah.
Anyway, but so far I'm in. I can't wait to read. There's only one more part though, right?
Yeah. So the first issue is him as a wee little kid on the farm. The second issue, he's graduated high school and joins the Navy,
which was weird but cool.
Yeah, I mean, there's some people that didn't. They think Frank Miller's kind of a right wing nut. Put a gun in Superman's hand. That's crazy. But he handled it as well as I could imagine, because I was imagining pretty bad. I mentioned before, Marvel Comics 1000 came out.
What did you think of that?
It was an interesting experiment. I liked, this was the one, again, year by year. So this is the 80th anniversary of Marvel. The 1000 means nothing.
Right.
It doesn't,
the
numbering doesn't matter. But it's supposing that Marvel Comics #1 that came out 80 years ago, if it had continued on, this would be the 1000th issue. So the first page.
Oh, what a Marvel thing to do.
Yeah. The coattails of Action Comics 1000, Detective 1000. Yeah. So the first page is set in 1939, the second page in 1940, and so on. Every single page is a different writer and artist, and they kind of weave a mystery throughout it. Some pages are just kind of silly goofs. Some they try to be more profound, and it tried to tie every page into something big. So like 1961 page was, a Fantastic Four page, and, on and on. But it was,
and so on.
And so on. I enjoyed it. It was a fun, it was a big swing for the fences, but I don't know if it fully connected.
Whiff.
Nah, whiff.
I didn't like it.
Nah.
It was fun. It had its moments, but the majority of it I didn't care about. There was, like I like the Fantastic Four stuff, and there were a few pages that I liked, but a lot of it, it's like, I don't know this character. It's not like a one overarching story that I care about here.
Well, they're trying to tie in the Eternity Mask. Because in the first issue of Marvel Comics, there was some, noir story about a guy in a mask robbing a bank or whatever. And they're trying to tie that into the Masked Rider from these Western comics from the 1800s. And the cosmic characters from the future who wear a mask. So they're trying to weave, like, this mask has been in existence through all Marvel history. And again, it's a big try. As I'm not sure they've quite hit it out of the park. Batman 77 had a big status quo change. Spoiler alert.
What is Batman 77?
Batman issue 77.
Number 77.
I thought it was like a 70s Batman story.
No, of the Tom King run.
Okay.
Bane killed Alfred.
Oh, yeah.
Snapped his neck.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Bane does. He's always snapping things.
He's got a type.
Snapping beans.
People were crazy for this issue. It was going for twice its value on eBay and all stuff. Like, I don't know how long this will last. Tom King only has a few more issues on the book, so
was it good? Was it a good issue?
That particular issue was pretty solid. I've lost interest. I keep reading it because I want to know what I want to be on top of it. But I've kind of lost interest in his story. Marvel has launched Absolute Carnage. This is the big storyline. Donnie Cates and Ryan Stegman on the art. This is the return of Carnage. They have a 5-issue miniseries and about 500 tie-in issues. It ties into the Spider-Man main title and the Venom main title, and the rest of them are like Absolute Carnage : Miles Morales. There's a whole bunch of little one-shots and miniseries. So basically, they've introduced the god of the symbiotes, this Null character, and Carnage has been reincarnated. I'm having a hard time because I haven't been reading Venom for the past year, which is a trouble when you have this big launch with a popular character everyone likes, and then you tie it to continuity that's been kind of building on a lesser known title, and you have to kind of explain it. Mm-hmm. You have like a year of catching up to do, so it's kind of hard to not just jump into this main title. But anyone who's ever worn a symbiote, they leave something behind in your spinal column, and they call it the codex. So Carnage needs to recollect all these codices in order to ascend and like resurrect this god. So it's basically Carnage and all these Carnage clones attacking and since the 90s, how many characters have had a symbiote? So everyone has had a symbiote. So it's basically Carnage versus the Marvel Universe. And it's a big, gory action story, and it's fun, but there's also like cosmic weird space god stuff that I'm not that interested in. But the other big Marvel thing are Jonathan Hickman's return for the House of X and Powers of X or Powers of 10 is what you're supposed to call it, but I refuse. I'm just calling it Powers of X. This is the big swing to bring the X-Men back to glory. I might review it a little later when the whole thing's done. Because right now I'm enjoying it, but I can't quite explain. There's multiple timelines. There's past, present, future. There's reincarnations. They just killed off a couple of main characters, so I might have a different opinion when it's all over. It might all tie in and be brilliant, or it might all completely fall apart. But when this is over, they're relaunching X-Men, and they're coming out with about 8 or 10 titles. They're bringing back Excalibur, New Mutants, X-Force, the Fallen Angels, the Marauders, like any X concept from the 70s and forward seems like it's coming back. But yeah, Marvel's going all in on the X-Men stuff, which, coincidence, after the film rights return to them, then we're going
Imagine that.
We launched Batman Superman, a new ongoing series by Joshua Williamson and David Marquez. This is the team-up book. This is a follow-up to all the Batman Who Laughs stuff. So if you enjoyed Dark Knight's Metal or the Batman Who Laughs series, this is the follow-up to all that, and you're going to get the fallout. The character's still around, and he's infected several people throughout the DC universe. And it's kind of like sleeper agents. You don't know who has been infected by this evil Batman. So, pretty fun mystery story. People, there's not everyone wants another Batman book, but it's different enough that it's its own kind of thing. You don't have to follow all the other Batman titles if you just want to follow this one. Legion of Superheroes are coming back. We have a 2-issue series called Millennium. And this is written by Brian Michael Bendis, like I talked about before. The Legion, people love the Legion. I'm not a DC person, but it seems like, if you're a Marvel person, you love the X-Men. If you're a DC person, you love Legion or the Teen Titans if you're from a certain generation of reader. And I had a guy, he has literally not been in the store for like 4 years. Came in and was like, all right, I'm giving them a chance. I want to see what they're doing with the Legion. I was like, all right, welcome back. So it sold really well. Like it basically outsold Batman this month. Because there's a whole group of people who really love these characters, and they have not been around for a long time because we've had to simplify continuity. And
who are the characters?
In the Legion of Superheroes?
Like Lightning Lass, Saturn Boy... Girl? Saturn Girl?
Yeah.
Okay, go on. I don't want to embarrass myself by saying something.
Bouncing Boy.
Ugh.
So it's the cast. It's like the X-Men. It has a cast of hundreds of characters.
Yeah. Phantom Girl, Phantom Woman,
Triplicate.
Yeah.
Girl.
Yeah.
Matter Eater Lad.
Yeah.
Let's go back to what you're saying.
But yeah, this is a
Pancake Boy.
They have tried to modernize these characters.
Woman.
Yeah, they're supposed to be from the future,
right?
But they're very retro,
right? They go back to the 50s, so they have that. They've had that very retro 50s.
Everyone's a lad or a
futurism look to them. So,
but this was this first issue was all written by Bendis. It had art by Jim Lee, Dustin Nguyen, and Andrea Sorrentino, and it was a pretty sweet issue. I've never read Legion. I know very little about it, but it's kind of tying all the different DC futures together. So it has a character who finds out she's immortal, and she lives through, the Kamandi, the Last Boy on Earth continuity, and then it jumps another 1,000 years, and she's in this other. So it's all the many different futures we've seen from DC. They're trying to kind of tie it all up in a bow where they all still happened, but they're all. It's a little more streamlined now. So I liked the first issue, and I've never. There's no Legion book I can point you to. It's like, yeah, that's great. And then Spawn number 300 came out, tying the record for the longest running independent comic book of all time. Does anyone know the... Cerebus went 300 issues. So next month, Spawn 301 will break the record. It was a giant oversized issue. It brought back... McFarlane did some art on the inside. Brought back Greg Capullo. This is the book that kind of made his name. Had J. Scott Campbell do interior art for the first time in 20 years, probably. So, congratulations, Mr. McFarlane.
What happened?
We met She-Spawn. New Lady Spawn.
Yeah. Odin
doesn't like a Lady Spawn.
Only the jokes you can get right here, folks.
Something, again, it's not a book I've kept up on, but it kind of tweaked. If you remember, he had the counter.
Yeah,
from the original.
I just
book.
Recently read the first 10 issues of Spawn.
Oh,
I have not.
290 to go.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know anything that happened after that. Is my problem.
But it in those early books, it had the green numbers that were counting down. He only had so much energy, and this book kind of.
And it has never run out since then.
I don't know. Because the number was very low in this issue.
Okay.
But yeah, so. It kind of changes his mission.
He turned into a girl when he ran out of energy.
And there's another.
We used to tell my brother when he was 6 that when he turned 7, he was going to turn into a horse. And then we convinced him, me and a friend of mine. And then when he turned 8, he was going to turn into a girl.
A girl horse or a girl human?
We never thought that far into it. He couldn't decide which was worse, being a horse or a girl. Sorry. So that's not what happened in Spawn.
No. That's all I got for comics.
Okay.
Is that it? Okay.
I still got a little pile sitting on my dresser that I haven't read in a month, so. One of these days I'll get caught up on Galaxy's Edge before I jaunt down there.
Yeah.
And then you also have to read the prequel to Rise of the Skywalker. They're going to have that prequel series.
And Marvel, they're ending the Star Wars books, right?
In issue 75,
Yeah. I saw
sales have
something
been
about that.
down.
Not
so
good.
I think they're going to, I'm assuming around December, we'll reboot with a new first issue.
Okay, moving on.
Hello, Dolores.
What the hell is a sticky maple?
Run, Barry, run! That's what I do. I dream, and I know things.
Go get him, Supergirl.
Well, what this guy look like, anyway?
Oh, he's a little guy, kind of funny looking.
Uh-huh. In what way?
Oh, just in a general kind of way.
Exterminate!
Little pig, let me in.
These violent delights have violent ends.
That's what she said.
Groovy.
Big Brother. I gotta talk about it real quick.
Is it over?
No, there's a
Ugh.
week and a half left, but it is about as good as you can ask for right now. This season started out, first 40 days were a clunker because they did their twists where people that got kicked out were still in the house, so nobody was going to do anything cool because they knew the people would still be there. Terrible idea. But then there was a big blow up where they were all mean to this nice little girl named Nicole who from New York, and she's just the nicest person, and they just, they make up things. If you do anything, you did this because of that, and they just all were against her, and it was terrible. But she's getting her revenge. It's basically come down. There's only 4 people left now, but there's a real bro-y guy named Jackson who he has a showmance, and she's kind of a waste as far as getting anything done. And then the other 2 people are Cliff, the guy, 50-some-year-old guy that's still in there doing good, and this Nicole girl, and they had it's just been great strategy constantly. That's the best thing about it. They're just constantly lying to each other or whatever, but the broy guy keeps winning competitions. It's like you just don't want him to win. Just that is part of the game, and if you can win out and win the game, more power to you. But usually you can't do that. Normally you're gonna mess up at some point, and they're gonna get rid of you. But he's actually done some good strategic things along the way, and he had made a great move the other night that it will go down as a big moment in Big Brother history, where he overheard a conversation. And there's been a lot of eavesdropping this year.
Oh, was he standing outside a door and he heard them all talking about it?
Yeah, they put it on the episode the other night, but we didn't get to see a lot of the fallout yet. But he heard them talking, and then he hid, went and didn't get caught. And later he came to people and was just like, now, has he been offering you this exact thing? And used the wording saying he's been telling me that too, and da-da-da. And they had to eventually face off. They're yelling at each other, and he was crying about it last night on the feeds. I hated that I had to do that to him because the guy he lied about got voted out because of that. And he just had to lie, and the guy was like, I didn't say that, or I didn't tell him that. And just it's such a great move. Anyone that trashes him for that, whatever. This is a lying game, and
he didn't come here to make friends.
Exactly. So I loved it. I was like, now he deserves just as well as anybody else to win, as far as I'm concerned. So I'm happy that I'm going to be happy with the winner no matter what, because there's no way that his girlfriend's going to win, and the other 3 I like all of them. So.
Yeah,
pretty
I flipped
exciting.
over just for a few minutes the other night, and it was that he was standing outside the door listening to people, and then I watched for a little bit, but the guy was sitting there with no shirt on eating sunflower seeds, and he had a Gatorade bottle he was spitting the shells into, and it was almost full. And I was like, how many? Is this the same bottle? I just became fascinated with his sunflower seed regimen, and I couldn't concentrate on anything else, so I had to turn the channel.
Oh my. Anyway, it's good stuff. It's one of the better seasons it's turned into in the last few years, so it's back. Got renewed again for next year. I'm excited. What have you been watching, Cliff? You got a list there.
Yeah, just a couple things. Last couple episodes of The Righteous Gemstones.
I've caught up on it.
Yeah, I'm not.
What do you think?
I like it.
I do too. With each episode, I like it a little bit more.
Well, you did tell me the other day that I can get back into it. They're not all hour episodes.
Yeah, your biggest complaint, you thought it was
too much
slow
filler.
paced.
Yeah.
But only the first episode was the long
Yeah,
one.
and they've gotten a little better each one.
Cool.
So I think we left off. We covered episode 2 or mentioned it, I think. So episode 3 they had it was titled "They Are Weak, but He Is Strong."
Now my sister's gone. You over here drowning.
Don't talk about Amy Lee.
I'll talk about her whenever I want to. She's my sister. Eli, you ain't the only one that misses her, you know. I think about that woman every single day.
Well, you should have done that while she was still alive. You're trying to cash in on her name every chance you get and were nowhere to be found when she needed you most.
I had my hands tied, Eli, with that whole Christian cruise ship thing. I was at sea. It was impossible for me to get back here for her.
That nonsense never got off the ground, and you know it.
Well, I was busy pricing vendors.
You're a two-bit con man.
A con man? Then why did you invite me back in the fold then, huh?
Because I felt sorry for you. I thought that's what Amy Lee would want. I thought helping you would make me feel better. I was wrong.
Well, I ain't no charity. I'm a commodity. I'm a known name in this industry. You lucky to have me. How dare you see me as less than what I am? You less. That's what it is. You less.
I should have guessed this is what would happen with you. You haven't changed a bit all these years. Still as pathetic as you ever were.
Pathetic? Well, how about this then, huh? How about that? I quit. How about that? Who's pathetic now, huh?
You are.
You are. You righteous gemstone. You pathetic. Don't call me, I'll call you.
Is that Baby Billy?
This is Baby Billy. They introduced Baby Billy Freeman, played by Walton Goggins, in his bright white,
I wondered,
slick back hair.
Why they made him up to look old and weird, and then they're showing flashbacks. Like we're going to get some of his younger days out preaching with a younger Dan Connor. What's his name?
John Goodman.
John Goodman, thank you. So they've kind of aged those two a little bit, I think, in order to show some flashbacks. So that's a great wig.
Yeah, a great wig. He's got the the bright. His teeth are as bright as his hair.
Yeah,
and so they introduced Baby Billy. He was Amy Lee's little brother, who was John Goodman's wife, who has passed away. And they are bringing him back into the fold of the church to run a new branch in a shopping mall at a former Sears location into this new area. I think it's Locust Grove is the town, the small town or whatever. So they're trying to take over there and run out the established churches there. So
steal them congregations.
Right. So, they're trying to wipe out the competition. Eli gets mad, and after a service, they come out, and all the cars in the parking lot are peppered with flyers from the other church talking about all the bad stuff they've done. So he gets mad, and they confront who's the actor? Young Guns.
Lou Diamond Phillips?
No.
Kiefer Sutherland? I like this game. Christian Slater?
Hey, chicken, you see the size of that horse? That guy.
I think of Young Guns. It's the first thing I would think of.
Jason Patrick? Is that his name? No. I can just keep come on, no. I want to play Who's in Young Guns. Who else was in Young Guns? Emilio Estevez.
Dermot Mulroney.
Oh, Dylan McDermott?
Yes.
Why'd you say so?
So, anyways, he plays Johnny Seasons, who's a pastor of a small church around in that neck of the woods. And so Johnny Seasons, has sicked his good old boys to take down this new church in the Sears that Baby Billy's running. So it ends up Baby Billy and his much younger wife are there when the posse comes in to start tearing everything up. And just in the nick of time, old John Goodman, Eli, comes in with his gun as he's coming to apologize to Baby Billy, and saves the day and makes him, well, you gotta watch it.
I'm planning on. I'm trying not to pay attention to you. He was Dirty Steve Stevens in Young Guns.
Dirty Steve, that's right.
That's the important part of all.
That's all
that's what we're taking away from it. Yeah, so it's, like I said, it's getting stronger. I think my wife's enjoying it. We're watching it together now. That was a pretty good episode. And then the last episode that came out, I believe last Friday, was called Wicked Lips. And this is kind of the Kelvin episode, which is Adam Devine's, the younger youth pastor.
The youth?
Yeah.
And he generally, he's not my favorite actor in a lot of things, but I like him in this.
Yeah.
He plays that kind of like black sheep of the family. Everyone just ignores him and talks down to him. And plus, Keith having his back.
Gosh.
Keith is the best character of the whole thing.
The best guy on the show. I'm living for Keith right now. Keith is the reformed Satanist.
And he's trying his best to stay away from Satan's clutches.
Right. They keep tempting him, though. Yeah, so in this episode, Eli gives Kelvin the task of reforming, I guess, this big donor, his daughter Dot, I think was her name. And this is a big, this guy's, owns chicken restaurants or something, and he's obviously giving them a lot of money, so they're going to have to. Kelvin has to win her over and bring her back to God and away from her horrible boyfriend. So Kelvin and Keith show up to, I don't even know what they called it, but to go through her room and rid her of
like a cleansing.
Yeah, it is the best part of the show.
Yeah, I like how it's written. I like the way they talk to each other. They throw, oh, brother pastor, like that. It has that nice Southern kind of authenticity. I think, like how these people would actually, these things they'd pepper in the conversations.
Yeah. So Kelvin gets the girl to come to his youth group in the Sky Zone, and he gets to show off some sweet jumping moves on the trampolines, and then they discover she's disappeared and went off with her boyfriend. And Kelvin, takes on, as part of his mission, he's got to win this one and show Eli, how good a job he can do. And they chase her down to to Club Satan, and old Keith gets tempted again. So,
and I also like the guy playing the blackmailer. I didn't recognize him for the longest time, and I looked him up. He was the boyfriend on the Mick, that Fox show.
That's where Wilson. I know him from,
and I really liked him on that show.
Yeah,
and he's good in this one too.
Yeah. So, the oldest child of Eli, I'm trying to think of what I'm
Pontius.
No, that's his son, but the Danny McBride character. His oldest son Gideon, we found out is playing a bigger part than originally, in the first couple.
And it took me longer than it should have to figure all that out.
Yeah,
but I felt a little dumb when it was revealed, but that's all right.
Yeah, he's trying to tear down the family from the inside. So, but yeah, I really like this show. It's on HBO. It's something different for me. I love the cast. I always like Danny McBride, Walton Goggins. They're always great together, and John Goodman's always a winner. And I think this is a good show. If you're not watching it, you need to get HBO and check this thing out. So the other thing I had, real quick, is still watching BH 90210. I don't know why.
I don't either, because
I can't figure out what it is. It's so bad.
I've got it set to record, and I've watched probably 3 episodes, and it does nothing for me. I think they're on, like I said, they're on the cusp of something, but they're just not enough. Bring on the Riverdale.
And I kind of thought that today because I was getting caught up. I'm now 6 episodes in 90210.
Wow. Is it only 6 or?
No, it's still going.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Only 6 so far.
Yeah, okay. We haven't ended yet.
Well, I thought the other night I clicked on the info and I thought it said finale or.
Oh, maybe.
Maybe it was. I don't know. But yeah, I've watched six episodes of it. It's so strange, and I never know if it's coming or going with these characters and how real it is or how pretend it is, and it's on a lot of different levels, people. But I kind of decided today, because some of them are really bad, like Tori Spelling is horrific in this thing. But I kind of decided today that maybe Brian Austin Green is the only one that can act at all, period. And I was a little surprised by that because in my memory, he was the one that I didn't care much for. But he's actually not bad in this. His story arc is at least fairly interesting compared to the rest of them that are just a lot of nothing. But yeah, I'm still watching it. I don't know why. I'm not watching much else. 90210, it's whatever. It's weird. Get on board, I guess. I don't know. Whatever.
And we got news today that Shannen Doherty would be appearing on the premiere of Riverdale.
Oh, now we're talking.
Okay.
All right. I want a crossover. Oh my gosh. You woke me up for that.
And for some reason, her character, Brent, she still plays Brenda Walsh, but no matter what scene she's in, she's always eating.
Okay.
Constantly eating. And I'm like, why the hell is she eating here? Why is she... Every scene she's putting something in her mouth.
She's a Jones. Maybe she's one of Jughead's.
Yeah. And I do want to... Go ahead. What?
Oh, no, it just broke. It was on Entertainment Weekly. Okay. Had a picture of Shannen Doherty and the 4 main cast members. And Roberto Aguirre-Sacasa, the showrunner, said, quote, Shannen plays the person who tells us what happened to Fred.
Okay, I was going to say, I bet it has to do with Luke.
So I was like, oh, wait a minute. I tried to piece the plot. Like, why would some stranger... It's like, it's Riverdale. Forget about it.
Yeah.
She was there, and she's an unexpected source of comfort to Archie. A big piece of what happened to Fred comes to Archie through Shannon's character. The scene is so heartbreaking because you really feel Shannon's love for Luke. So they brought in one of his friends.
Man, I'm on it. I'm ready. What's the premiere date?
October 9th.
Get ready, people. It's gonna be.
It's coming at you.
I was getting ready to get her new phone too, and I'm just thinking of all the screenshots.
So much.
It's gonna get ruined.
You better get it one with a lot. I'm
gonna give me a.
Although part of me was kind of hoping a little bit that they never mentioned it. And it was just like, oh, Fred's at the grocery store. And like every episode, forever, for the rest of the run, they just kept having excuses why Fred wasn't there. What? Did you say something, Fred? He's in the next room.
Yeah. That'd have been cool. That'd have been Riverdale.
Yeah, that would have been Riverdale. Did you guys watch the season 4 trailer?
No, I haven't watched it.
There's a little teaser, just a short little thing.
I thought about it and I was like, I don't know if I want to know anything.
It didn't really.
It didn't reveal anything.
Just, it's cheerleader outfit. Oh, here's a glare between 2 characters.
A bit of Cheryl.
And there was one little, I couldn't tell. It looked like either a snake statue.
What?
Or a pile of pancakes that had been like petrified. And I was like, either way is great. I don't care. Either one is amazing. Both. Yes. Yeah. I paused it and I couldn't tell whether it was a coiled snake or pancakes.
Well,
I was like,
I hope it's subtitles when I pause it, so maybe it'll tell you.
Last thing I had real quick, just announced today, Jenna Fisher and Angela Kinsey are coming out with a podcast called The Office Ladies, all about The Office, and they're themselves are real
life ladies.
The Office Ladies. It's coming out October 16th. They're going to do one episode of The Office at a time. They are, if you didn't know, real life BFFs. And they're going to just talk about behind the scenes, about the taping, all their experience with each episode. They're going to do behind the scenes stories, answer questions from fans, which today Jenna Fisher was, they're already like getting ready to do it because she was putting out tweets today like, hey, we need some stuff for this episode. Do you have any questions or anything for just the general public? And I had a quote from her. She just said, on the announcement, as we close in on the 15th anniversary of the first show, seemed like a great time to share our stories and behind the scenes trivia. So I'm looking forward to that. I follow both of them on Instagram. They're very active. And they're always posting like their Target runs together. Like they really are friends and do stuff with each other and their families and stuff. So I was like, yeah, I'm in for that. That's cute.
And I always appreciate when an actor, especially on a very beloved show, they don't like, I don't talk about that anymore. It's part of my past. Like, I like when they embrace that because the fans are never going to be over this show.
Right.
It's like, Shatner hates Star Trek or whatever. But, I like it when actors can
totally agree. Don't be better than us.
Right. Get on our level.
I watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh, the full...
Binged it this week.
Wow.
13 episodes, season 6.
It's over? That was the whole season?
Yes, it premiered middle of May, ran through August. The ratings this year weren't great, but it stayed fairly consistent. It has a core of fans. Like we said, the social media is big, and the download numbers are good. Streaming numbers are good, so...
so you're telling me it's going to come back?
Well, there's one more season. Season 7 is the final.
I can't believe this show's went.
I mean, we dig on it a little bit, but it's not. I don't watch something if I don't like it. I'm still enjoying it enough to stick with it. And this season was good, pretty good, good enough, great.
That's all you can ask for. Good enough.
And a lot of it was because it's 13 episodes.
Yeah,
the pacing was much better. There weren't any filler nonsense. There were some really good cliffhangers, and it was like right on the next thing, and the plot just kept going.
How many people were left from the original cast?
Well, we gave at the end of last season. I know this has been out a while.
Even I've watched.
Spoiling the end of season 5 here. Coulson got a goodbye. They sent him off. He got to ride off into the sunset. Him and May professed their feelings, and we had a good, happy ending. And then S.H.I.E.L.D. was being rebuilt, and I was like, on to the next mission. They made Mac the director, and it was like the perfect place to end it. They're like, let's do 2 more seasons. So I'm like, ugh. But, so, yeah, it's still got Daisy, Quake from the comics, Yo-Yo, Mac, Fitz, and Simmons. So there's still a recognizable cast, but they filled it out. There's a new guy, Deke, who was one of the guys from last season where they went into the future. There's this robotic synthezoid. He's a chronocron or something, some alien species. But that's my main gripe with the show is still... And I hate complaining about a show because it's not what I want it to be. Like, I expected, ground level S.H.I.E.L.D. agents in the Marvel Universe. It's the X-Files or whatever, where there's a bunch of strange stuff going on. And this show's become time travel, aliens, other dimensions... conquering monsters. Like it's a big sci-fi show, and then it's on a very tiny TV budget that keeps getting cut every year. So I don't know, it never was exactly the kind of show I really wanted. And this season 2, half the team starts in space, half the team is back on Earth, and there's this invasion of these parasite aliens. They're these bat-looking creatures that jump in your mouth and go in your stomach and like spread their wings out and like take over your nervous system and like turn you into a weird zombie. So there's this alien creature going to conquer the whole world by turning everyone into these bat zombie things. Until the end of the episode, in rides Clark Gregg looking like Mad Max and a giant semi-truck with like grating on the front and like armor. He's wearing leather pants and boots, and he's got a sword. As like he's got this whole crew that looks like they step out of the Road Warrior, and it's ridiculous, but also a little bit fun. So we don't know how he's back. He's called Sarge. He has no memories of being Coulson, so we don't know if he's from another dimension. He's a clone. He's a life model decoy. We don't know what he is, but it's insane. And again, there's a couple like scenes. It felt like The Thing, like the John Carpenter movie. Like they're all in a locked room, and like one of them has been possessed by one, and it's like they're trying to figure out who has been possessed, who's the traitor among us. So it's had some good episodes, good scenes, good pace. It came out in May and had zero ties to the Avengers movies. No reference to Thanos, the Snap, Endgame, time travel, nothing.
Wiped it all out.
Which again, that's the big selling point of this, was it's a weekly show set in the Marvel Universe.
Right.
It had zero references to anything Marvel. And I went today and looked at, there was a couple quotes of like, well, we didn't want to, because they didn't know when it was going to air, so they didn't know what they could spoil or where it would fit in the timeline. And like the movie people don't talk to the TV people. They weren't telling them how, they didn't know how Endgame ended.
Yeah.
So they weren't going to write a whole season based around how Endgame ended. So the final episode petered out a little bit. I said for a strong season, it kind of ended a little weakly. But again, we have to wrap up to what's going on next season. It involves time travel of some form or fashion and a different version of Coulson. Sarge went on his merry way. We now have a new, he's like a life model decoy version of Coulson. So Clark Gregg is going to stay on the show. It's just not the original Coulson.
Wow.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
What else you watch?
A little bit of Showtime.
Oh, he's
okay. Showtime correspondent.
He loves Showtime. I do. Kirsten Dunst is back. Have we seen anything about this show that she's on?
Nope.
It is called On Becoming a God in Central Florida.
I've heard.
I like it so far.
I've heard it.
And
heard
it's
of it. I mean,
pretty great.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Don't build it
you
up
should
just 'cause
really.
you're the only
You
one
should
that
all
can watch
subscribe
it.
to Showtime. Is what I'm saying. If you can get it free, even better.
A dream isn't impossible. Let it inspire you. Maybe you dream of owning your life, so your life doesn't own you. If you follow the Garbo system, you're going to be living the lifestyle that everyone wants. Wow.
We've been following the system for 2 years now, and we're struggling.
Business has made us thousands.
And it cost us twice as much. Those tapes told us we'd get rich. It's all lies. I have nothing. Your system doesn't work.
The system works. Look at where you are. Think about where you want to be.
These people are brainwashed. Because of you.
I could live with that.
It's set in the early 90s. And Kirsten
It's not free,
Dunst.
it's part of the package.
Yeah, duh.
Yeah, you gotta have that special package. But Kirsten Dunst, like, they say that about, this actress is so brave because they wear ugly makeup or whatever. But like, I don't find that brave. But like, she has a few extra pounds on her. She's got braces. She's got horrible 90s, like crimped hair with bangs. Like, just does not look good. This is not, bombshell Kirsten Dunst, Mary Jane era. Yeah. Like, she's, a wife and a mother, and she's a little bit past her prime, a few extra pounds. But, like, she's so good in this. And when they premiered it, they showed 2 episodes. And I normally don't like this. I don't want to stay for 2 hours and watch this, but I'm glad they did. Because the first episode, you don't quite get the gist of it. And then it's only till the second episode you get kind of where it's going. And as it progressed, I'm like, this has a little bit of a Breaking Bad vibe to it. And I'm like, I'm feeling this. And then every review I've read, it's the Breaking Bad of the night. Everyone has knows this. It wasn't some code I cracked.
Reading about this, yeah.
Yeah, so her husband is Alexander Skarsgård from True Blood and
he's everywhere.
Big Little Lies and many other
He's going to be Randall Flagg.
Mm-hmm. Yes. He is involved. Well, okay, the show, I didn't know anything about the show. I just happened to be checking out my Showtime package. It started at AMC. It was going to be an AMC show, and it was Yorgos Lanthimos was attached to it. He was going to be the showrunner. Then it moved to YouTube Premium.
Well, nobody's watching
where
that.
He bailed. And they're like, let's not do that. Then it moved to Showtime. So I don't know. The show seems like maybe it's been in production for a while, but I don't remember a bunch of hype leading up to it. It was just kind of on. I don't know if that's the Showtime way or not. But anyway, her husband is involved in FAM, Founders American Merchandise. So it's a multi-level marketing, was known as a pyramid scheme.
Yeah.
Very similar to Amway. It's like cleaning products and household goods. So she's doing the dishes and the dish soap and the sponges. It's all FAM products. The paper plates are FAM. Like their whole house.
I went on a camping trip one time several years ago, where a guy I went to high school with, super nice guy, good friend of mine, but he does one of those, and the whole trip it was trying to get me to do it.
Recruit you to his downline?
Yeah, it was just like, ugh.
Did you do it?
No.
Yeah, I'm not going to mention any other names besides Amway, but this is a very popular thing right now. People selling.
They're everywhere.
Be your own boss. Make your own hours. You'll make money. And there's been research done, and the vast majority of people lose money on that.
Right.
You only make money if you're at the very beginning and you're at the top of the pyramid. That's why it's got a pyramid scheme.
Be your own best customer.
So this show kind of deals with that. Her husband is all in, and it kind of portrays it as almost a cult. So the guy said upline and downline. So the guy on his upline, the guy ahead of him, is like true believer. They play tapes of the founder, played by Ted Levine. It's the Garbo system. The guy's name's Garbo. It's like, you got to trust the Garbo system. Garbo knows what he's doing. Right. So everything you have to answer to Garbo. And it just kind of deals with that kind of, that early 90s, the economy, the bubble, the bubble's about, the dot-com bubble's about to hit. And it's this capitalism and the desperation people have to make something of themselves, and this dream they promise you. How many yachts do you want to own and stuff? And she is basically like, he has a full-time job with insurance. We got a kid. I'm happy. I don't need anything else. We're fine. But no, he wants to provide, and he wants to get ahead, and he wants to, be a millionaire like he's been promised. And things kind of happen. She has to kind of take over the business. And at first she knows it's a scam, and she knows it's horrible, but, things happen, and to take care of herself, she has to become more like Walter White. You have to make a few moral compromises to put yourself forward, and it's kind of, I've seen 3-4 episodes so far, and it's like her taking a step further into the, screwing over her best friend, lying to people, just to keep herself above water. And it's a weird kind of comedy. There's funny stuff involved, and it's very Florida. She works at a water park. There's a whole subplot about alligator poaching. There's like kid beauty pageants. There's all this weird just this off kilter Florida feel to it, where there's this, every episode's a little off kilter and weird, but there's some drama too, and it has Mel Rodriguez from Last Man on Earth. He's her neighbor, and just the most kind, good-hearted guy around. And she ends up,
who's Mel Rodriguez?
The bigger guy with the mustache.
Oh, okay.
He's been in several things, but there's also Julie Benz from Dexter and Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So I'm totally into this. I'm enjoying it so far.
I really want to watch this show.
Yeah, get that.
She's got her star on Walk of Fame.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And I know
she's married to Jesse Plemons from Breaking Bad, right?
Oh, is she?
If they're not married, they've been together for years now. Because he gave the speech where she got her star.
Good for them. I like that.
Yeah. Oh, great couple. Yeah.
But I noticed Showtime is playing. I come scrolling through. I'm like, Spider-Man 3's on. That's weird. Marie Antoinette. Virgin Suicide. Literally every movie on that night. They must have bought the if you're going to put our show on Showtime, you get the full Kirsten Dunst experience.
Well, I think it had to do with her walk of her whatever, just getting her star. I am Patrick Swayze. I had to just admit it. I've been hiding it from you guys all this time. No, that was a show on. Was it on CNN or what was it on?
It's on Paramount Network.
Paramount. That's what it was.
When you're not watching Yellowdale, you got to watch.
Yeah, Yellowdale. That's right. That's exactly. Did you say it before? Because that's perfect. I didn't know.
You're only on this planet for so long. Go for it now.
Patrick had something about him that was very rugged, but that also had that beautiful, gentle, sensuous ability to move.
Patrick performed like he had something to prove. He was a gymnast, a world-class cowboy, a ballet dancer? Really?
I was just looking for any way to make a mark.
I remember watching Patrick and thinking, man, guy's so good.
He charmed everyone. He'd find a way in and make you just fall in love with him.
As soon as we started dancing, it was just like...
It was important to be great. He carried that over in his life.
He'd be bubbly and fun, and then as soon as he's by himself and alone, he would just crash.
Yeah, it was like one of those just life story type things about Patrick Swayze, who I like Patrick Swayze. He's in some of my favorite movies. And, you know, he died famously over a decade ago, I believe, and of pancreatic cancer. But it was one of those deals where you hear about their life story and you just like freaking fall in love with them even more. It was great to see the whole thing. You know, he's you said you watched this also?
Yeah, I've always Patrick Swayze is cool. I like him. But it's never like, you know, I don't have a poster on my wall or anything. But it's like, yeah, I'll watch this, and then
there's an in between stage in there between.
Not for me. I'm either all in or all out.
I like that.
But yeah, like 2 hours later, I'm like, Patrick Swayze, man, the world needs more of you, man,
buddy.
His real name is Buddy. And I never knew that. I feel like you hear what was the star's real name or whatever, but I think his name. Did they just call him that?
That's what everyone calls. Yeah, when you're close to him, he might have been like a junior or something. So
okay.
Like his dad was.
Yeah, his dad
Patrick
was Buddy. I think his dad's name was Buddy. But anyway, yeah. But it was like whenever a star was sitting there, a talking head talking about him, they'd call him Buddy. It's like that's what they really called him in real life. But
it had his wife Lisa. His brother Don Swayze, who's an actor, and you see him in bit parts around. Yeah. He's usually like part of a bank robbery crew or something. Yeah, he never became a big star, but he's a working actor. Mm-hmm. Talked to his agent, his manager, Jennifer Grey, Demi Moore, Rob Lowe, Kelly Lynch, Sam Elliott, C. Thomas Howell, and the best interview. Marshall Teague,
the best guy,
the villain of Roadhouse.
I just looked up to see what his name was a minute ago, and it says for that role he plays Jimmy as Marshall Teague, which makes sense. This guy was like ridiculous on this. You probably tell it better than I can.
Yeah, so he was because the thing goes through. When he was a kid, Patrick Swayze had ballet lessons, and he was
his mom was a hardcore dance teacher.
But then he played football in high school, took martial arts, learned how to fight, was a cowboy, knew how to rope and ride, and he was.
There's no way you could watch this and not be like, he is the coolest person to ever watch.
Just him on the back of a horse with that mullet flowing in the wind, like that's a cool dude.
He just could do anything. He was so talented and athletically, gifted.
So as Marshall Teague tells it, he gets to the set of Roadhouse, and they film the climactic fight, which if you've ever seen it, is a pretty epic hand-to-hand combat. It should be on a poster.
Yeah, that's true. I've always said that.
In the gaze of Brad Wesley's mansion across the pond.
So Marshall Teague tells the story, and in walks this Hollywood pretty boy, and I see this ballet dancer, and he has no respect for him. He's not a true martial artist like he is. And the first kick to his chest, he barely feels it. He's like, "Oh, is that all you got? If you're coming at, if we're gonna make this look real, you got to give me all you got." And the second one, he lays me flat on my back. And he reaches down and he gives me a hand up, and that moment I knew we were brothers in arms, and we said we're giving this everything we got. And he talked for 15 minutes describing the glory of shooting Roadhouse
and how they just did that like it was all real. And he's like, he picked up a tree and hit me with it, and that was not planned. And we kept going. It's just like, gee whiz, this guy's nuts. It was crazy, but it was great.
But Patrick Swayze earned his respect.
Yeah, that's the main thing.
Right.
It was like he was my compadre. But anyway, it's like he became super famous when he was on Barbara Walters. She came out to the ranch because they've got that ranch outside of California, outside of Hollywood, and because he didn't want to be down there with the people, his agent would make him go to premieres and things, saying, "If you want to keep fans, you got to show your face."
Because he dealt with mental issues and he had anxiety and didn't always deal well with the Hollywood spotlight.
Right. So but when he was on Barbara Walters and she asked about his dad and stuff, he cried, and boom, his fame skyrocketed at that moment because everybody watched Barbara Walters first off, and that was just
Barbara Walters knew at that moment.
Yeah, it was my compadre.
If you shed a tear with me, I'm your brother for life. And then Barbara Walters hit him with a tree.
Yeah. I'll never forget it. It's so real. He ripped her throat out. Anyway.
Sam Elliott wasn't too different. He was like, he talked about it was a man's
mijo.
Man. Yeah, mijo.
Anyway, I loved it. I loved every minute of it. I loved the whole thing. And then he just talked about all the movies. And one of the things which I, of course, have, put Point Break at the top of my list of movies. And one of the reasons because he's just like, the Bodhisattva. He just embraced every role he was in. But famously, he would go do, jumps. He did the jumps in that movie. But when they actually filmed it, he would go out. His brother was a big skydiver, so he would go skydive, and train with him. And they finally stopped. They were like, "You can't do that. You can't go out skydiving every day. We have insurance things. Mm-hmm. We're filming a movie." So he stopped, filmed the movie. They did it all with a stuntman, and then after the movie was done, they'd done all the shots they needed for it. He went back and reshot everything that the stuntman had done. And then which they never do this, then they went back and reinserted all of his shots doing it himself. Like, the shot where he's standing there, adios, or whatever he said, and he jumps out the plane backwards, for real. It's like, they even said in there, Tom Cruise, he saw Point Break because from then on, he's always wanted to do all his stuff and be, copy that type of thing. That's why I love both of them. They just throw themselves into this stuff. So it was really sad, then when he ended up getting sick. And I just like, relationship he had with his wife. They were together. Did go into they had dark times. He was a major alcoholic for a while and they ended up breaking up. But she was happy they got back together and he quit. He just was able to stop drinking and everything. And it happened before he ended up getting sick. So yeah, it was sad, but it was a really good. I like those documentaries about biographies or whatever. Good stuff. So on that note, we got to do a one job, Cliff.
One job forever?
Look, I have one job on this lousy ship. It's stupid, but I'm gonna do it, okay?
You tossers. You had one job to do.
So Patrick Swayze is getting one job here.
This is a toughie.
So I'm gonna go in here and
I don't think he's had maybe as long a career as some people, but most of his roles were, he was the star, and it was a huge cultural, impactful movie.
Let's start listing some off here. We got Fatherhood is the lowest one on the list that I've even heard of. North and the South, he was in that. Was that like a TV miniseries?
Civil War miniseries.
Black Dog was one of his last things he did. And he was in a show. We forgot to mention that.
I think it was on Showtime.
Of course it was.
Yeah, very sick. Like on his.
Yeah, he was
within
sick
months
while he
of
did
the end of his life. It was still on set every day.
Let's see. He was in Youngblood with Rob Lowe. Was that the hockey one? Yeah, I think it was the hockey one. Let's see. Next of Kin. I was thinking Is Liam Neeson in that too? I don't remember. But that was just I remember there's some funny lines in there because he took it really seriously. He wears like a duster and it's all about this family stuff. Let's see. Tu Wong Fu, where he got to play. I honestly have never even seen the movie.
Yeah, me neither.
Wesley Snipes and who was the other? Oh, John Leguizamo. They were like cross dressers.
But again, it pointed out like he took that role seriously. He
Rob Lowe wanted that role.
Yeah.
Wasn't he the one talking about that? He's like, I wanted that role, and they're like, yeah, but you can't. Patrick Swayze, had taken all that ballet and stuff. He could walk and walk the walk. What he's doing. Let's see. We got Ghost was a huge movie, made him super famous. That with Dirty Dancing were two of his biggest things, and
right.
The Outsiders he was in along with every other young star at that time. Really, well, he's in The Player, I think, but really that only leaves the three big ones, I'd say.
Oh, I think you're forgetting something.
What?
He played Adrian the Chippendales dancer on Saturday Night Live.
Oh, that's true.
I just wrote down SNL.
That was a good moment. What was the roller skating one? He wasn't that
was like his first movie.
Yeah. Which that they were talking about that on that doc where he was just like, and he was like owning that. I was just like, man, that's the most badass roller skater ever. What was like when he spit his gum out? I was just like, I know. I don't remember what that was called. Anyway, comes down. Here we got Roadhouse, Red Dawn, and Point Break. The trifecta, which for me it's really between Roadhouse and Point Break.
That's
well, we all know where this is going. I'm
no love for Ghost or Dirty Dancing.
Oh, I both great movies.
Yeah,
I love Ghost.
Molly, you're in danger.
Now you can't just blurt it out like that and quit moving around, will you? Because you're starting to make me dizzy. I just tell her in my own way. Molly, you in danger, girl.
What are you talking about?
I know the man who killed me.
He knows the man who killed him.
His name is Willie Lopez, and I know where he lives.
His name is Willie Lopez. He's Puerto Rican. He knows where he lives.
Write it down.
He wants you to write it down.
You write it down.
I ain't no damn secretary. Just do it. He's so testy.
Yeah, when we first came up with this, we realized we'd both seen this documentary. Like, let's do Patrick Swayze. And I was like, oh, he's going to pick Point Break. I'm going to pick Red Dawn. So whatever Cliff picks.
But I like that you're giving, they're giving this some love here because he honestly, but the problem is this is the Ka-Pow. We get to put what we want, but I think the public would put Dirty Dancing.
I do too.
I'd agree. Yeah. Like they'd have to do that. That's what he's number one known for is Dirty Dancing.
Head up. Lock your frame. Lock it. Lock. Look, spaghetti arms. This is my dance space. This is your dance space. I don't go into yours. You don't go into mine. You gotta hold the frame. Again. Frame.
Yeah, I can remember being in like third grade in elementary school. All the girls, that was their favorite movie, was Dirty Dancing, and watching it over and over and over again. And there for a long time, like, that was a common movie to, that would replay on network television on like a Saturday or a Sunday a lot. So
I will admit, I have never watched it.
Oh, are you serious?
Really?
I've never seen Dirty Dancing.
Wow. Pretty good movie.
It's a good movie.
It's not, it's not. I have nothing against it. It's just not one. And I'm sure I've seen clips, and I know Nobody Puts Baby in a Corner. I know all the famous "Endless Love" and all that stuff. But
she's like the
great soundtrack.
But yeah, I like Roadhouse as a even the documentary they call it the best bad movie ever made. It's terrible, but I really like it.
I love it.
I could also vote for Ghost. I mean, that's just a as far as a romantic.
I did it.
Let's let that sit for a minute.
So you guys already know what you're picking.
Girl.
Well, I love Red Dawn. It is in my top 10. I could watch it any night of the week.
I've got your top 10 on my phone.
Good. I'm glad you do because I don't. I love
can't
this
wait
movie.
to tell you what it is.
But as far as his one job, no, it's not the most iconic role. I get it, so I won't vote for it. But for me, I have to always stick up for Red Dawn because it gets put in the category with like Roadhouse. It's that cheesy 80s movie where a bunch of teenagers stop the Russians. And it's not that. Rewatch it.
No, I agree. It's not that, movie. but I can't agree with that either. That's my thing. I agree. It's not a cheesy 80s movie, but it's not good. Like, I don't love Red Dawn. It's too long. It's too serious. It's too much.
I
rewatched it like a couple years ago. And I was like, isn't it? I loved it as a kid. I was just like, oh my gosh, they're dropping down by my school.
I always
Let's go play war.
Put Red Dawn together with that Tom Cruise movie with George C. Scott.
Taps.
Yeah. For some reason, I don't know why. Maybe I saw them about at the same time, but I always equate the two together.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
Type of thing. You're in a school and there's serious stuff going on.
But I also identify it's the Jed Eckert, Maddie Eckert. It's the brother dynamic, being an older brother, also being a younger brother. But I liked the role that Swayze had with the young Charlie Sheen.
Not bad for a bunch of kids, huh?
And at one point in high school, our drum line, we didn't tell them where it was from, but we gave everyone a nickname. I was Jed, my brother Jared was Maddie, and we named it he was a little off, so we called him Robert.
Soul Man.
Yeah. So and we gave everybody names, and the two guys in the pit were
what are you naming after girls?
Yeah, Jennifer Gray's name. I can't remember. But one has a more masculine name, Tony. The girl's name was Tony.
Yeah.
And the other was Erica. So there's only one guy in the whole section we called Erica. It's like, why am I the girl? That story led nowhere, but I enjoyed it.
I liked it. Yeah.
So I was even for a very short time I was even called Jed.
I'm willing to negotiate something.
Yeah. Okay.
I would vote Roadhouse.
I'm telling you straight. It's my way or the highway. So anybody who wants to walk, do it now.
If we wanted to make that, if we wanted to put our hands together, a mijo.
All right. People who really want to have a good time won't come to a slaughterhouse. And we've got entirely too many troublemakers here. Too many 40-year-old adolescents, felons, power drinkers, and trustees of modern chemistry. It's going to change.
I can also vote Point Break. Like,
okay, yeah,
it's right there too.
So what's the biggest? Waimea?
Ridden?
Yeah.
Ka-Pow. Gain a point.
Bells Beach, Australia.
Whoa. No way Bells is bigger than Waimea, bro.
We'll be next year.
Odie believes the 50-year storm is coming next year.
50-year storm? What's that?
That's kind of a legend.
No, it's real. It's absolutely real. Everything moves in cycles. So twice a century, the ocean lets us know just how small we really are. A winter storm comes out of Antarctica, tearing up the Pacific. And it sends a huge swell north 2,000 miles. And when it hits Bells Beach, it'll turn into the biggest surf this planet has ever seen, and I will be there.
So will I.
If you want the ultimate, you gotta be willing to pay the ultimate price. It's not tragic to die doing what you love.
All these movies, there's no real clear winner for me, so I can very easily be swayed.
Yeah, Cliff, start. You give us a talk. Try to talk us into whatever you're thinking.
Well, immediately, the two I thought of were Dirty Dancing and Roadhouse. Personally, I like Roadhouse.
I think I know where this is headed.
I think I can remember the first time I watched Roadhouse. We were on vacation. We were at my aunt and uncle's house in Jacksonville, Florida. It came on HBO one afternoon. I think we were waiting around to go do something or other, and I sat there and watched Roadhouse, and like I thought it was
the greatest thing you've ever seen.
It was amazing.
Definitely. The first time you see that movie, well, every time you see that movie, you think, this is the greatest movie ever made.
But yeah, and those were the two that came immediately to the top of my brain. I think Ghost is great. It's not my favorite. But it's not my favorite, but yeah, I think there's something to be said for Dirty Dancing. I think that was probably his biggest mainstream hit. It was, like you said, there are certain things in that movie, lines or moments that live on forever.
Nobody puts baby in a corner.
I think that's what he's remembered for the most. Jennifer Grey is great in that movie, and Jerry Orbach, of course, played her dad. It's got a great cast to it. You know, this resort in the 1960s Poconos, when people would still vacation there and places like that. And this rich family goes for the summer, and Patrick Swayze is the dance instructor. And he's got his whole crew of dancers and kind of his ex-girlfriend. And they have, big parties at night. And of course the little rich girl, is just amazed by it. She's never seen anything like him or anything like them, and gets all involved in it. It's a great story. It's a great movie. It's Roadhouse. Take me down to the Double Deuce any night and muck it up.
Double Douche.
It's Roadhouse for me.
Well,
and I did get my nephew years and years ago. I taught him the line, "Pain don't hurt," and he whipped it out one time playing baseball. He got hit with a ball. I was like, pain don't hurt, and I was like, that. It was it was the greatest, proudest moment of my uncling career.
Your uncling career. Well, I think we did it. I think we're just gonna have to go with that.
Yeah, I'm okay with
it. Ka-Pow history. James Dalton. Thought he'd be bigger.
The name is Dalton.
All right, we're pushing it a little bit, but we got one more thing to get to.
Well, let's fly through it.
There's something very important I forgot to tell you.
What?
Don't cross the streams.
Violence in the streets, that is what we are. Cross the streams.
Okay, I only got one thing. I'm gonna say it real quick. Justin was telling us about Dark Crystal.
Yeah.
Age resistance. I thought I'd try it out. Everybody's saying it's great. I watched. My son and I sat down. We got food. We got ready to watch, and we made it about halfway through the first episode before he looked at me and said what I was thinking. He's like, "I can't eat and watch this because there's freaking snot coming out of the Skeksis, one of their noses, and it was so gross. It was like, turning my stomach." And I hate that part of it. But eventually I got back to it when I was not eating and finished the first episode, and it was freaking phenomenal. And that's all I've watched, though, is one episode, and I'm planning to try to burn through some episodes this weekend because it's just gorgeous. It's gorgeous.
It ain't no CGI snot. That's practical snot.
That's real snot.
That's puppet snot.
I mean, I could do without that. But the rest of it's great. It's just got a bunch of good voice actors. Mark Hamill's in there, and it's just it's gorgeous is the main thing. It's got like a real Game of Thrones feel to it.
I still remember as a kid watching that scene where they take the Chamberlain into and like strip him down of all his he has the feathers and they like he's this weird naked chicken. I remember being like so freaked out by the Skeksis and their weird twisted bodies. It's like that terrified me as a kid.
Well, it's amazing to watch. I'll tell you.
I haven't watched any yet. I'm really looking forward to it. Carly and I had a conversation about it, and she's never seen Dark Crystal.
I haven't either.
So, okay. Well,
I don't feel like I need to.
It's our plan. We want to sit down and watch Dark Crystal first, and then really get into it because I really think she'll enjoy it. She's 12.
Yeah.
But right now I think
she will because it's. I mean, I could see anybody liking this.
Yeah, we just haven't had time to do it. Right now, we're so enthralled with junior high volleyball that she's playing every night and games all over the county that we just haven't had time to do it yet. And I'm so looking forward to it.
It'll be there.
So, you got any streaming?
Nope.
I have a little bit. Titan Season 2 on DC Universe. Season 1 we talked about. It was okay.
Outsiders. Are we still with the
subtitle?
It was like
no.
Teen Titans.
No.
Yeah. Oh,
this is Titans, the live action.
Live action.
Yes,
it's out already.
Yes, already out.
Good grief.
I watched episode 2 premiered today. I watched 1 and 2. It's getting better. I don't know if they've changed up some of the writers or what is happening, but it's definitely gotten better. I think just as the series has come out, like Titans came out and it was good. I had problems with it. Wasn't great in any way. Then Doom Patrol came out and was like my favorite thing. And then Swamp Thing came out. And of course, episode 1 premiered, and then they canceled it that day because of that. We talked about all that mess. But like it was highly acclaimed. So next we've gotten Titan Season 2, dealing with the aftermath. Season 1 was all about Raven, and it was the basic story arc. Was the Titans were done. Dick encounters Raven. They have to save her. They get Starfire. They get Beast Boy, and it had really good stuff about it. But Season 2, we pick it up at. It's basically it's the ending, more or less, of Season 1, better than Season 1 did. Because we find out what happens with Raven and her father, Trigon. She brings him back into this realm, which, of course, Trigon's a major Teen Titans villain.
Is he like human looking, or do they make him
He's
demonic?
He has a human form at first, and then, he grows and becomes, with the thing with all the eyes and the big demon looking thing. But it's pretty quick. I mean, they contain him to one episode. It's really just getting the season started. Of course, Trigon comes, he's comes into our world to take over, to kill everybody. He immediately takes control of all the Titans except for Raven and Beast Boy, and makes them in the confrontation. He has to break Raven's heart to unleash his full power, but they wrap it up pretty quick with Trigon, and we move on to San Francisco. Titans Tower. Dick takes Beast Boy. He takes Jason Todd, the new Robin, Raven, and I think that's it, to San Francisco to figure it all out. He's going to train them, right? He's no longer Robin. The best thing I'm loving so far is we finally meet Bruce Wayne. He's an older, 60-ish Bruce Wayne. He's played by, from Game of Thrones, Ian Glenn. He is great. When they cast him, I was like, he has blonde hair. He can't be Bruce Wayne. But he's so good. It's just enough of him. But he has this kind of Adam West, in a good way, vibe going on. He's the elder Batman. He's very stoic. And he's still guiding Dick Grayson. And in a way, Dick had so much anger towards Batman when he left.
Oh, I heard.
Yeah. And so we're dealing with that, and Jason, Jason's an ass. He just straight up is. So we're dealing with those. They're off in San Francisco, but we've already been introduced. Starfire teams up with Wonder Girl, Donna Troy. They're in Chicago. Hawk and Dove, who are my favorite part of the show. Hawk and Dove are in Wyoming. Hank is a drug addict, so he's trying to help other kids recover and learn to live with their addiction and deal with it properly. And then while he deals with his own, they're off in Wyoming, and basically we get a new villain. Dr. Light escapes from prison with the help of somebody, we don't know who yet. And then we're introduced later in the episode by Rose Wilson, Deathstroke's daughter. Deathstroke was in episode 1. We got a little what he's been up to lately with him. Rose Wilson is... I got her name right here. And anyways, Chelsea Zhang is playing Rose, and Cello Man plays Joseph, the other Deathstroke child in this one. We haven't been introduced to them yet.
That's a third version of Deathstroke we've got. We got the movie Deathstroke, the CW Deathstroke, now the DC Deathstroke.
Right. And then we're still waiting on this Joshua Orpin, which made an appearance in the last episode as Connor Kent. He hasn't come to screen yet on season 2, but I'm waiting on him. And then Michael Mosley is the actor portraying Dr. Light. Pretty cool effect with him. He's using people and his powers to basically use light to explode them. It's pretty graphic. Definitely, Carly, go to your room. But it's very good. It's much improved. The other thing is a Netflix show I watched, Working Mom Season 3, guys.
You're pregnant. A woman with child is so beautiful. Is she? Squeeze my hand.
No, I'm good, man. I'm good.
Do we need to go to the hospital? I will drive you there.
No, Mom, let's go.
Are you sure I can't help you to the car?
Get away from me, bro. Okay, super weird. Come on, super weird.
You've had one hell of a year. You are long overdue for some D.
I'm like 6,000 kegels away from any kind of D.
Your hair's gross, lady.
Jojo, that's no way to speak to your mother's friend.
Oh, do not make me call the police again.
You okay? Oh, yeah. Motherhood is a miracle.
My fertility isn't a joke. I got eggs. What kind of kid you want? Resourceful? I once broke into a van with nothing but a hammer and a beer. What was the beer for? I drank it, and then I smashed the window with the hammer.
You've got to stop creeping on Halsey's Insta.
What? All parents do it. It'd be irresponsible not to. Where is this?
Is that LSD?
Let's do that. How long do we have till the stuff kicks in? Till what kicks in?
Hey, are you okay?
I'm great. I'm in jail. I'm high. Not super high, just like a medium high.
I almost said, what's happening on Working Mom?
Oh, man. It went down on Working Mom.
I think this isn't even a real show. I think he just makes up this stuff.
Recap season 2 cliffhanger. Kate, Catherine Reitman, who is the creator of the show, the writer, director of most of the episodes, at her friend's, it's a wedding, but they don't call it a wedding, commitment ceremony at the end of the last season, catches her husband making out with the nanny. So that's how they left off. Season 2 picks up. Time has passed. She split up with her husband. She's started her own PR firm.
So she is still working.
She's still working.
Okay, that's important.
Still momming?
Yep. She's got her own place now. And the other characters, Anne is her best friend. She's the psychologist.
Working.
Yes, working. Anne has taken a job at a local school, or I guess university, as a psychologist or psychiatrist. I don't know which one she is. Doesn't really matter. And then Frankie has found her way back into realty and is doing quite well for herself after her separation and raising her daughter Rhoda. Mommin' and working. And Terrible Jenny is back. Terrible Jenny she was awful. Wasn't in much of the second season. She was the original fourth working mom. Then they kind of wrote her out because nobody liked her. She's back.
Ringo of Working Mom.
Yes. She's back. She gets a promotion at her work. Of course, quickly the employees all hate her. She hires her ex-husband, Ian to be a business boy because once she gets a promotion, he's lost his.
Sounds like a superhero team, working mom and business boy.
Yeah.
Quick, business boy.
Get back to work.
Yeah, so she gets him on the books as a business boy. Of course, everybody hates her at her work now because she's awful, and they love Ian. But the best thing they did this season is they kind of removed Jenny and they replaced her with the Mommy and Me teacher Val. And Val is played by Sarah McVie, and she is great. She plays the ultimate weirdo mom, nuts out floating around in the clouds somewhere. And she has these horrible children, these teenage boys. But she is great. The best episode was episode number 8 called Girls Trip, where Kate, Anne, Frankie, and Val take a trip out into the wilderness. They get a cabin, they do LSD, and end up at the police station. It's really good. The other big thing is, I told my wife this after watching it. She finished it before I did, and she is a working mom.
Well, that's why.
And I was telling her, I said, I like every character and every story arc in the show except for the main character, and I cannot stand her. She is horrible. Catherine Reitman's Kate character, I don't like her at all. Instead of trying to fix her marriage, she's out philandering around town with these different guys and 22-year-olds.
Making her unlikable, or you just personally don't like her?
I think you're
are you supposed to like her, or is she?
I really do believe you're supposed to like her and like feel empathy that she's trying so hard, right? And something bad happened to her, but she just completely makes it worse. I do not like her at all. Her husband, who I thought it was was awful. He's having an affair with the nanny.
It sounds like you really think it's awful.
But then
he needs paid for that or anything. It's like, come on, take him back.
Yeah, it was awful, right? Yeah. But like what she does, like she takes what he does and doubles down. Like I was like, I like him better than you now. You're horrible.
Well, if that was flipped, what if she kissed the mailman and then he went out dating? Would you be like, what would you think of him then?
I would not like him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good answer.
Yeah. I do not like cheaters.
Okay.
So, yeah, Working Moms, guys. Season 3, it's out. It's available on Netflix. That's all I got, other than Disney Plus came out in the Netherlands and is available to them on a free trial right now. And I sent you guys a little video of a guy that was demonstrating it.
We definitely watched it.
Twice. No, I spent time trying to come up with lyrics for a song about working moms.
Working with the coal moms.
Working for a living. Working in a mom and then a mom and then a mom.
That's funny because we were both coming up with our own songs. I had Working in the Coal Moms. I want to say one more thing about Big Brother. I was sitting here thinking about my son came in. I was watching last night. And he kind of knows how it works. If you get on the block to be voted out, somebody could win a veto and you could take somebody off the block. And he's like, hey, if we were in there together, he's like, would you, and you won the veto, would you take me off the block? And I said, I wouldn't win the veto. I'd throw it. So I didn't have to take you off the block. He's like, well, I'd get voted out. I was like, yeah, you're holding me back. Everybody thinks we're a duo. He's like, you answered that way too fast. He's like, would you vote me out too? I was like, if everyone else was voting you out, I don't want to stick out like a sore thumb. You're not going to expect me. Then I'll just get voted out next. He's like, he's really upset. He's like, well, I would vote you out too. I was like, you wouldn't vote your own dad out.
You would go in the first minute you were there, like, do not call me dad. You would not want anyone to know you were related.
I'm assuming they knew
you would already be playing the game.
Yeah. I'd get rid of him so fast. He'd be holding me back big time. Anyway, let's get out of here.
All right. That was fun, huh?
Sure. Why not?
Thanks for listening. Thanks for checking out our social mediums.
Yeah.
Thanks for going to our Facebooks and Twitters and
social
YouTubes.
Mediums. That sounds like a title of a show or something.
Social mediums?
Yeah. Why didn't somebody come up with that?
I'm imagining Jennifer Love Hewitt.
I'm listening.
As a working mom and also a spiritual medium.
A ghost whisperer?
Who is on social media.
So she sees that.
And I'm Seth. Goodbye forever.
Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast, is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Sounds, music, and clips played during the podcast are property of copyright holders. All original content is property of www.udownwithkpp.com.